I haven't talked about it before on this channel, but I am an enormous James Bond fan. I've seen them all, right between Doctor No all the way up to No Time to Die. Although I haven't seen Never Say Never Again. But considering the fact that that's just a remake of Thunderball, I don't think that really matters because I've seen Thunderball anyway. Oops, show how much I love James Bond already. But anyway, I'm not just bringing up James Bond because of the fact that this is an Aston. It's because this is the DB10. An Aston which is closer related to Bond than you might think, not just because Bond's driven it, but because the DB10 was created specifically for the Bond film Spectre. Like, it's a one-off car, totally unique, which in the Bond universe at least doesn't exist, because at the end of its starring role in Spectre, after a chase between it and a modified Jaguar CX-75 through the streets of Rome, it plunges into a river. Also, interesting fact about the CX-75 used in Spectre, that's the only time the CX-75 has actually been used. Although it didn't have the CX-75 technology that made it also special, 1.6 litre engine, hybrid, 900 horsepower, whatever. That was just swapped with an F-Type SVR V8. Which is a bit of a shame for the CX-75, but, at least it actually got to have a starring role. Anyway, back to the DB10. You might think, if you didn't know about Bond and whatever, that DB10 would just be a normal Aston Martin because it's a DB, but no. But the Bond franchise stole an entire DB number just so that they could have a special car. I feel like they should have called it something different. Aston Martin are good with their V names, so what if we had I don't know. Vixen would be a good name. Oh no, is that already an Aston Martin? Might already be an Aston Martin. You never know, I am not very good with keeping up with Aston Martin nowadays. Now, you would think that when the Bond production team went to Aston Martin and said, make us a unique car, Aston Martin would make something properly special and pull out all the stops. Oh shit, I'm sliding. At the very least, they would base it on the big Aston Martin of the time, like how, in the 60s, there was the DB5 and the DBS. Then there was also the Vanquish and the other DBS. But no. As it turns out that Bond's big, unique, special car is a Vantage with a stretch in the middle. I'm not even joking. And the worst part is, it's not even the good modern Vantage. It's the old Vantage, the 4.7 litre one. So that's 430 brake horsepower. 2015, Spectre was released. This was at the time when you could get those stupidly cheap C7 Corvettes with loads of horsepower. Seriously, this car is pitiful. Genuinely pitiful. It should be so much more than it actually is. But no, this is all that Bond gets. Honestly, I'm actually genuinely confused as to why Aston would do this. Bond is their biggest advertiser. Everyone knows Bond and everyone knows that Bond drives an Aston Martin. But no, they give him a Vantage with a small stretch in the middle and not even the good Vantage. Also, a reminder that that Vantage is essentially, well, not underneath, but it's very closely related to the old Jaguar XK. Which is, well, at the time that this would have been made, around 20 years old. Seriously. Although, to be fair, that this isn't the first time that just an Aston and a Jag have been very closely related. There was the DB7 back in the 1990s, based on the old XJS platform. Aston Martin, you are going too bloody cheap. You wouldn't think it'd be possible for a car to have an ego. Especially not one that isn't even in the real world. But incredibly, this one does. Because this really should behave like a Vantage. Sure, one with, slightly less manoeuvrability thanks to the stretch in the wheelbase, but it should be, a light little lithe sports car, but no. This behaves like a baby GT. This is a car that essentially thinks it's much better than it is, then goes out of its way to be better than it is. Well, I'm not sure how I'm thinking about it, because I kind of like it. You get the proper sense of a rich Aston Martin front-engine GT. Nice thrush from the pedal when you put your foot down. It's a lovely sensation. But it shouldn't do what it does. It's weird, and strangely it works. What a bizarre car. I think we've all seen the shot of Bond standing next to a DB5 from Goldfinger on a nice Swiss twisty road. Well, I'm absolutely able to confirm to you that if Bond was still driving his DB10, he would be able to have a lot of fun on said Swiss road. Oh shit. That was me slightly overcooking it. Yes, this thing does have a bit of a deficit in grip, but also makes up for that by being really fun. Like, this is a lovely chassis. It's even bonded aluminium. Yes, a Bond car has the word Bond in its type of chassis. My life is now complete. I am happy. But seriously though, I do wish it had a little bit more grip, because as you've just seen, it is able to spin really, really easily. But I tell you what, it's not half fun. So yeah, that absolutely makes up for that. Oh, and by the way, that James Bonded aluminium chassis happens to be really good with drifting as well. It's well balanced, it's light, it's nimble, it's agile, it's wonderful. You get so much feel, you're able to get lovely angles. I love this thing drifting. Like, I think it might actually be the best part about it. Being able to hoon around the streets just like you would be in Spectre, although I think it was actually the CX-75 that did most of the hooning. But still, lovely, balanced, and the best bit is, you get a load of kick out the corners. Lovely! And now, considering the fact we're in the city, we've got to make like a real DB10. Oh wait, Bond, you should have done this in CDT, because as it turns out, you're actually going so fast in the DB10 that you can probably just jump to the other side. Honestly, I'm so smart for these things. This is going to be quick. There is no way around that. This is going to be a quick lap. Good chassis, good handling, good amounts of power and speed. It's just a matter of how quick. Let's find out. Here we go. Come on. Words of being excited. I don't fucking know. Off the line. Lovely bit of power. This thing has a great launch, by the way. Oh. Running a bit wide. And then running a bit narrow. If it wasn't obvious, I'm bad at driving. And if you didn't know that, you should have been watching the channel more then. That was terrible. I'm so mucking up this lap. I'm sorry, Aston DB10. But come on. More power. More speed. More other things. 38.7, but it should be much quicker than that. I'm just a terrible driver. That's me making excuses for the car by degrading myself. Shows you how much I like it though. So, should you get this Aston DB10? Well, it's a free car that you don't have to do anything for, like not even complete an event or anything. All you have to do is go to this bit of the map, go to the school, and here it is. Ready for you to unlock. Simple as anything. So, if you're not going to get it, you are, quite frankly, an imbecile. So get it, and drive it, because it's very rewarding to drive. So, on that bombshell, I will see you tomorrow in Dealership Tycoon with a review of a modified Jaguar F-Type. Or, in other words, a ruined Jaguar F-Type. See you then.